Before I begin my talk, I'd like to ask everyone in this room to do something simple for me. Take a moment and touch the fabric that you're wearing right now. It can be your shirt, your trousers, or your t shirt. I want you to just feel it and ask yourself these questions. Is it smooth or is it rough? Is it plain or is it textured? Does it feel crisp or soft and relaxed? Can you tell me by any chance what kind of fabric it is, just by touch? Is it cotton, polyester, or spandex? Does it breathe? Does it absorb moisture? Once you're done, let me know how many of you were able to answer all of those questions by raising your hands. I see a lot of hands that are not raised. That tells us something. We are surrounded by everyday objects, objects that we live with, rely on, yet they become so familiar that we stop noticing them. We see the surface, but forget what's beneath it. What if I told you that the fabric you're touching right now holds a memory? And when I say memory, I don't mean nostalgia. I mean a structural memory that determines how it drapes, how it performs, how it holds its shape. It carries memory of heat, pressure, and the process it has been through. And it absorbs memory of touch with time and human interaction. That question, what if a fabric could hold a memory, is where my work begins. My name is Hamad Abed, and I'm a fifth-generation weaver and textile designer. As far back as I can remember, I accompanied my father to our small family textile mill. I watched raw fiber become yarn, yarn become dyed threads, and dyed threads woven into fabric. I still remember the sound of the looms running simultaneously, that rhythm click, clack. I remember running between the machines, mesmerized by the choreography of hand and movement. I watched artisans working for hours to weave a single yard of fabric. I saw the patience it required, the precision in every step, from spinning to dyeing to weaving. Everything was intentional, and nothing was accidental. That environment shaped me long before I had words for it, to be honest. I witnessed firsthand what human hands are capable of when attention, time, and skill come together. So today at this stage, when I say my work is shaped by my heritage, I mean it quite literally. It is shaped by an inherent understanding of fabric, its process, and it is inspired by the stories of migration and displacement in my family. But most important of all, it is inspired by curiosity. This way of seeing fabric didn't come to me naturally. It's something I grew up in. At its core, fabric is a record of tension and time, warp and weft locked in precise conversation. The vertical threads that you see in the orange color is the warp, and the horizontal threads that you see in the green color is the weft. And depending on how the warp and weft interlaces, fabric behaves differently. In my family, fabric was not just a surface or a product. It was understood as a system, something that carried knowledge, labor, and time. We didn't just ask how fabric looked like. We asked how it behaved, how it draped, how it responded to tension, how it aged. That knowledge structure taught me something early on. Every thread has a purpose. Every intersection carries intention, and every mistake leaves a trace. Weaving taught me that memory doesn't only just live in the mind. It lives in structure, in repetition, in doing something again and again until it holds. Later in my life, when I studied textile design, I realized something surprising. The same language I used to talk about fabric was the same language I used to talk about life. Repetition, structure, break, release. These are not just weaving terms. These are human ones, human terms. And that's when I realized something fundamental. Creativity doesn't begin with innovation. It starts with noticing. Through my work, I started to explore the concept of memory in textiles on 3 different levels. The first is material memory. Material memory resides within the fiber themselves. Cotton softens, silk relaxes, synthetic fiber resists time. Some of us might have experienced this in our daily life. Something we love, maybe a piece of fabric, softens over time. time becomes a collaborator, a pigment, a force. This is perfectly depicted by this piece that I made called Tracing Lineage. It explores the concept of migration. It is inspired by an evergreen landscape and the record of the feet that crossed it. In my family story, it was during the partition of India and Pakistan in 1947, which impacted millions in the region. But structurally, it's an exploration of material memory of different fibers woven together to achieve the conceptual narrative that I was aiming for. It's a multi-layer fabric with 5 layers weaving simultaneously. And because I was using 2 different materials, cotton and wool, the inherent stretch within those materials are different, which creates a relief on the surface, creates this feathering effect where one of them is weaving looser than the other. The idea was that with time, some of these threads would break apart, revealing the surface beneath it, just mimicking a landscape that has been transformed by the sheer impact of mass migration and displacement. Fabric behaves just like memory does, conditional, layered, and shaped by time. The second type of memory is emotional memory. Fabric remembers the heat. It can remember the shape of body. It can become inseparable from a person, place. We all have clothes in our wardrobe that we don't want to throw away. Not because of what they are, but because of what they make us remember. Maybe a gift from a loved one's. Emotional memory is woven through living. It's not woven on the loom. This concept is perfectly depicted by this piece I made called Glitch Recollection. Glitch recollection explores the fragmented sense of belongingness that comes with repeated movement. Migration always involves a sense of loss, where past is always leave behind. You leave behind the past to secure the futures. This piece documents how that fragmentation can be explored. Woven on a jacquard loom, I intentionally disrupted the machine's logic, making it glitch every time it's trying to weave it. As a result, every glitch becomes a representation of a loss, of absence in this cloth. The resulting fabric is a blurred and glitched recollection of all these different memories of home that are trying to fit in together but can't, mimicking how belongingness is shaped by migration. The fabric becomes an archive of dislocation where interruption itself becomes a part of its inherent structure. Because that's how emotional memory works. It's not linear, it's not perfect, it's blurred and glitchy. The third and most important of all is the structural memory. As the name implies, it's the behavior of a structure. It determines how a fabric drapes, how it performs. Just like us, we grew up in structures, in environment, geographical location, culture that shape us long before we are aware of it. And that question led me to a series of exploration that became my personal aesthetic called Architecture of Tangible Memory. In these series, I create fabrics that are woven flat on the loom, just like any traditional fabric. But when I take them off the loom, something magical happens. They bend. They become three-dimensional when you put them on the wall. These fabrics become three-dimensional because of an inherent model of memory that I weave into them. I do this by combining soft and hard material, by weaving bendable plywood with cotton and wool. These fabrics can become three-dimensional because I can influence the density and the weave structure, and I can control where they fold, where they yields. The resulting fabric remembers how it wants to exist in space. This demonstrates my ongoing exploration to push the boundaries of textiles from two-dimensional surface to three-dimensional spatial forms. So why does this matter? Why am I telling you all of this? Because we are living in a world that is moving faster than ever. There is a constant pressure to produce more, to optimize everything. But creativity doesn't come from speed alone. It comes from attention, from curiosity, from choosing to slow down enough to really see. When we learn to see what's in front of us, when we design with intention instead of urgency, We create things that are not just practical, but they mean something. So the next time you hold a piece of fabric or an everyday object that you use in your daily life, pause for a second and ask this question: what would change if I take a closer look at this object that I use every day? Because the most powerful ideas, the ideas that last, are often hiding in plain sight. Thank you so much.